Okay, so we can find forms in the little Channel 9 app launcher up here, and clicking on forms, it opens up a new window. As you can see, I've actually made lots of different forms. Now you can make a new form which just asks questions, or you can actually make a quiz which will mark it and you can test how much your kids know. So I'm going to just look in one of these to show you the kinds of things that we can have. So this was an actual form which is asking the kids some information about how they went in teaching themselves something before they did their in-class. So looking at the question styles we can ask them to give a rating. We can ask for a short answer response. We can give them some choices and then they choose, or you can have several different choices and then several different options to go with that. Now once the kids have completed it, you'll have some responses up here, so you can click in there. This does some really nice graphs for you to use in like your review process or as feedback or to reflect on. So is our rating one. So we had 24 kids responded to this question with an average of 7.79 enjoying teaching themselves. We can look at the latest responses here. So it picks just the 3 last people to give me their responses. A nice pie graph. Sometimes it gives a bar graph. You don't really get to choose, it just chooses for you. This was that question where you had lots of different options. So we're saying that the user quizzes in their textbook, we had 8.3 never, not much, occasionally a lot, and none all the time. So it just gives you a nice graph to use. It's really easy to take a screenshot of it. If you want to look at individual students, you click in the view results and you can have a look at your individual students, each of their answers separately, and also that time it took to complete. So if this was a quiz, you can see if they're struggling, taking a lot of time to complete it, or if the work is really easy, or if they didn't put much effort into it and got bad results. You can also download this information in Excel and do your own graphs if you want. It's up to you. But let's have a look now at how to make one of these forms. So going back here, we just want a new form. And I've already made this one, so you could just see it then. But so we're just clicking in and we just give it a cool title. And now when you do this, it actually automatically saves. So it's always telling you to save over here. It's kind of frustrating. You want to click something to know you saved it, but it's doing it automatically. So then we just put in a description. So tell them about your form here. And then it's as simple as adding a question. So click add. What type of question do you want? Do you want a rating question? You click on it. How cool is forms? You might like to explain what the ratings are. You can change the ratings to go up to 10. You can change it from a star to a number. But you might want to explain it. Now, if you want everyone to answer this question, all you need to do is slide that one over and it's required. They can't submit the form unless they've actually answered it. So we add another question. This time we'll give them a choice. So we'll make it, how often do you use forms? Now, forms is pretty cool. It's read the fact that I've said how often and it's given me these options. So instead of me typing it out, I'll just go, oh, add them all. That sounds good. I like all of those options. I can add more, or I can put in add other. So if somebody doesn't really know. This is not a multiple answers one. Obviously, they're going to use it just the daily or weekly or monthly, not multiple. But if you had choices like what are your favorite colors and you wanted them to pick more than one, you can put this across for multiple. Because we've made the first one required, this one is also going to be required. And so if you want to make it that you can skip a question, you have to untick that. Every question is going to be required because of that first one. If you have another question exactly like this where you want the same daily, weekly, monthly, etc., or you just spend a lot of time typing in a series of names or answers and you want to use it, you use this one to copy the question. Now you can see it's question number 3. This one will just bin the question, so I'll get rid of that and we're back to question number 2. You can put a picture or a video in here, so if you want them to look at a picture and answer some questions or watch a video and answer some questions, they'll get that link. The picture just shows the video they can play in there. Then what we can do is we'll add another question and we'll make it this one a text one. So we'll ask the person, why do you use forms? Now that's okay for anyone who chose the options of daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal, yearly, but there was the option of never. So this question is kind of useless for them. So we'll add another question in: why don't you use forms? Now these are short answers, so if we want to turn that into a longer answer, we can click in there and change that to longer answers. That gives them more typing that they can do. Now, obviously, we don't want the person to see both of these. Why do you use forms and why don't you use forms? It's going to depend on what answer they gave here. So what we want to do is we want to branch this form. So we go up into here, the three dots is for our settings usually. So we click on this and it gives us this option of branching. So if we click on branching, it's going to take us through each question. So it's asking us, once they've answered this first question, where do you want to go? Well, I want them to go to the next question. So that's saying what I want to. So I click on the next question, and now I'm given an option of each of these. Now for each of these, if they use it, I want to know why they use it. So I just go here and I pick the question I want it to go to, why do you use it? So I'm going to make that for all of these. So if they click on any of these, it's going to go to why do you use it? Except for this one. So if they said they never use it, I don't want to ask them why do they use it. It's kind of silly. I want to ask them why don't you use this form. So I want them to go to that one. Right, then we can keep going down. This one's going to the next question. No, that would be silly. Why do you use it? Why don't you use it? So after they've answered that, I want to end the form. Or after they've answered this, I want to end the form. Now, if you're really worried about how that all looks, you're just going to go back up to the top, go out of the branching, and then click on preview and you get to have a look. So if we look at this, we've got the first one, which is let's rank it, and the second one, which is how often do you use it. Now there were no other questions, even though we know there were two there. So once we click on daily, it reveals the next question: why do you use forms? As you can see down here. If I click on weekly, it's still the same all the way through, except when I click on never, it's now asking them, why don't you use forms? Once that one's answered, I can click submit. In the form, when you see that little star, it means that it's required. So if they don't answer it, it will not be able to be submitted. It will simply get a message saying you didn't complete question number 3, go back and do it. Now there's a couple other things you can do once you're in there. You can change the theme, so you can change the color that it appears. You can put different pictures behind that are already given, or you can find your own picture and upload your own picture. The other thing you'll find really interesting or need is the share one. So how do you actually get this to your students? You go to share, you click copy, and then you can email it, send that copy and link into an email. If you want to share it with somebody else, they want to use it, so you can share it as a template so they can use the same questions as you with their class. So if you set up a quiz for maths, for example, you can send them the template and then they can use it and they get their own responses on their page. Or you can share to collaborate so that the people can use yours, they can edit it, and you all get to see all of the responses. Okay, that's our quick tour of forms. When you come back to it, here it is, give it a cool title. You can go in there and just copy it. So if you want to reset the quiz that you did for the quiz kids and they've done some more study, you want to see how much they've improved, you could just copy it so that you're not getting them to do the original test again, or you can delete it from there. Pretty much that's a quick overview of how forms works. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.